You sit down to study for an important exam. 15 minutes later, you are watching video about Roman history. If that sounds familiar to you, you might think you have an attention problem. But the neuroscience says something very different. As a neuroscientist, one of the biggest misconceptions I see that ADHD is simply about not paying attention. That's not what the evidence shows. ADHD is really a disorder of attention regulation, not attention itself. And that one distinct changes almost everything. Hi, I am Dr. Shambhu Yadav, a neuroscientist and stress biologist from Harvard. Think about it. People with ADHD can hyperfocus for hours, forgetting to eat, forgetting to sleep when something genuinely grabs them. Video game, a creative project, a topic they are obsessed with. Time just disappears. But give the task to them, something boring or repetitive. Then wall. Immediately just wall. Not laziness, not defiance. That's just how their nervous system works. And it all traces back one word, that is dopamine. Dopamine drives the motivation, reward, and pleasure. In a neurotypical brain, it's released not just when you get a reward, but in anticipation of reward. That little chemical is what helps most people push through boring lecture or tedious tasks. The brain whispers, "This sucks right now, but there is a payoff coming," and that's enough. In ADHD brain, that anticipatory signal is weaker, less reliable. The motivation system doesn't light up for the things that feel distinct or abstract. That's why someone with ADHD can spend 4 hours deep in the Roman history but struggle to answer just 2-minute email. Not because they don't care, because one task fires off the brain reward system and the other doesn't. Someone with ADHD can care deeply about something and still struggle massively to start. That is not a character flaw. That is a neurological difference in how reward circuit operates. Now the part of the brain meant to hold it all together, and that is prefrontal cortex. You might think that is a CAO of your executive functions like planning, organizing, shifting attention, controlling impulses. In ADHD, this region matures more slowly and run with lower efficiency. Or my favorite way to put it, it's like having a smart, capable employee working with outdated equipment and a spotty intern. You know what needs to be done. You understand the step, but the actual starting, sequencing, sustaining, that part feels genuinely hard. And that gap between the knowing and doing is one of the most exhausting things about living with ADHD. ADHD doesn't look the same in everyone. So there are 3 main types. Inattentive types, which is no bouncing off wall, no obvious hyperactivity, just persistent difficulty sustaining attention, staying organized, following through. These people get called as passive, dreamy, not living with to their potential. From the inside, it feels like a fog you can't see. And the next, the hyperactive, which is impulsive type. Can't sit still, interrupt, act before thinking. High energy, constant need for stimulation, and this is one gets noticed earlier because it's loud. And the combined type, most common in adult, internal restlessness plus attention struggle plus impulsiveness. Chronic issue with the organization and the follow through. This is the main sign for them. Now I have a quick myth to kill. ADHD is some things you grow out of at 18. Absolutely not. No. The core neurobiology stage, it just changes shape. Hyperactivity becomes inner restlessness. Impulsivity show up in financial decision or sudden career switches. Many intelligent people go undiagnosed for the decade because they found work around. Pressure, adrenaline, constant environment changes. They look fine on the surface, but inside exhausted. Quickly convinced they are lazy, they are broken, but when they finally get a diagnosis as adult, it's often deeply emotional. Year of self-blame suddenly makes sense, and that opens the door to real solution. I want to be honest with you, a lot of advice out there, better to-do list, Pomodoro timer, turning off notification, is well-meaning but surface level. It doesn't touch the actual problem. The brain isn't refusing to work because your system is bad. It's refusing because it is not getting the neurochemical feedback it needs from tasks that feel distant or meaningless. For ADHD brains, motivation tends to come from 5 different things. Interests like, does it genuinely excite me? Next challenge. Is it hard enough to engage me? Novelty. Is it new? Urgency. Is there real pressure right now? Passion. Does it mean something to me personally? Abstract future rewards rarely cut it. So the questions stop being how do I force myself to focus and become how do I make this task hit one of those triggers right now. That shift in framing changes everything. In practice, turn a study session into a game. Raise a timer, beat your last score. Explain material out aloud like you are teaching someone. Connect what you are learning to something you already care about. Study with someone nearby, even the silently, so there is a bit of social structure keeping you grounded. That the last one is called body doubling, and it's worked surprisingly well. The external pressure creates just enough structure that the brain stay on task, and then the moment is the another big one that is backed by solid research. Even the brief physical activity boosts dopamine and the norepinephrine. Both are critical for attention and executive function. The short breaks, which doesn't interrupt focus for the ADHD brain, they restore it. And because the internal structure doesn't come naturally, external structure becomes essential for them, like visual timer, physical checklists. Then background noise. So the background noise, if silent, feels paralyzed. A real close deadline rather than the vague distance one. None of this means you are weak or relying on the crutches. Neurotypical people run on the natural dopamine regulation without even thinking about it. People with ADHD just need to be more intentional about the engineering, the condition that let their brain perform well. If a lot of this feels like this is about you, please talk to professional, a doctor, psychologist or psychiatrist who specialize in ADHD. This is one of the most well-researched neurodevelopmental conditions we have, and evidence-based support which include the meditation for the many people, and that can genuinely change the thing. Getting assessed isn't about the label, it's about finally having accurate information so you can stop fighting yourself. And if you don't have a diagnosis but still struggle with focus, much of this applies to you too. Modern life isn't built to sustain attention. Understanding dopamine, novelty, urgency, movement, and external structure gives anyone better tools. And my friend, living with the ADHD can be exhausting, but it also comes with a real strength. And that is like creativity, deep empathy, the ability to hyper focus on what truly matters, and kinds of things that doesn't fit inside usual box. So guys, if this resonated, share it with someone who might see themselves in it, and drop what you would like me to go deeper on in the comments. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next episode.